Welcome to episode 355 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, and Mac, and Vision Pro, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and we have a couple of guests this week. Jill McKinley is back on the show. How are you doing, Jill? Glad to be here.
Doing just great. Thank you for having me on the show. It's exciting.
Absolutely. Always great to have you, as well as a return performance from Eric Bolden. Thanks for being here, Eric. How are you doing?
Great to be here.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me. Having you, not me. It's a little crazy. We were having some mic problems before the show here. And then Marty Gentius, as always, is here. Thanks for being here, Marty. How are you doing?
It's great. I'm going to Chicago to see the Cubbies this weekend, so I'm in a good mood. We got our Chicago Cubs blanket out. We're all ready to go.
Excellent. So we've got plenty of stuff to talk about this week. Some Vision Pro this week. In touch with Vision Pro. There was a release of a bug update with 18.4, and then beta. We just got beta 2 just got released, and so much other stuff. But as we always start off with is In Touch with Vision Pro, and we've got 3 of us here who have Vision Pros this week. And Apple did release Vision OS 2.4.1. It was a minor update to the Vision OS 2 operating system. This came out in September. 2 weeks after launch of 2.4. You go out into the headset and go to the Settings app, the General section, and you go to that software update. There really wasn't much in there other than bug fixes, security updates, and the software is recommended to all users. And we'll talk about all the other OSs in a minute because the .1 came out to many of the others as well. We don't run the 2.4.1. We are in beta, but I don't think there's much else we can talk about, right?
No, not really.
Yep.
There are still some things reported that they haven't fixed yet, like streaming Amazon Music.
Yep.
Doesn't seem to still work. But other than that, they're just cleaning it up for the final version and move on to 3.
Yep. But we're hoping 3 comes quick. But in beta for Vision Pro, they did release the second betas of the Vision OS 2.5. And I don't see much in there at all. I installed it, and I'm sure you, Eric, and Marty did as well. Do you see anything that was any difference? I didn't kind of put the link to the developer notes, but there wasn't much of the developer notes either, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not
I'm
not willing to live dangerously right now, so
I'm
still on the non-beta.
Okay.
The non-beta is doing what it needs to do.
Okay. So you're on 2.4.1 then?
Yep.
Okay.
It's a fast update. Works. Didn't break anything for me.
All right. Guess that Marty and I are the ones that live on the edge, huh?
Yeah. Well, you could buy me one and I could test it out. I promise to be always on the beta.
Yes. You could, but I don't know. That might be tough. So nothing really changed. Did you notice anything, Marty? I didn't either. There wasn't really much, right?
No, whenever a version comes out for the show that Eric and I do, we kind of check the developer notes because that's all we've got to go on. And the developer notes, it doesn't say much. And, the same sort of thing. They still can't get, for those of you who care, can't get Amazon Music to play through your Vision Pro headset. Yeah, but I assume these are all like security and bug fixes at this point.
Yeah, it's got to be. And then before I go on to this next article, I just wanted to thank Marty and Eric for having me on Vision Profiles this past Monday as we record this. And I thought for sure you were going to talk about this, but I figured I'll keep quiet so I can talk about it here tonight. So this is a new app called Mirror Vision. And what Mirror Vision allows you to do is use your iPhone's camera and stream its feed to your Vision Pro. It's meant to serve as a mirror for the times your back is towards the foot traffic areas, fully immersed in Bora Bora, or simply sitting at your work desk. Prop the iPhone onto a stand and open the app on the iPhone and the Vision Pro and easily view someone as they approach you from behind. Seamless connection between the devices with a reconnect button and easy in uneasy internet times. There's it says swapping between the front camera and the rear camera straight from the Vision Pro. And toggle the torch from the lightning to lightened or dim areas. The front camera will activate the display at the torch, and the rear camera will activate at the camera flash. I could go on, but I found this curiously interesting. I don't think either one of you have tried these yet, nor have I, but for that matter.
It works really, really well.
Oh, you did use it. Okay, great. Yeah. Please tell us.
So I was at a coffee shop, so I thought I would play. Because if you're sitting immersed in a scene and you've got your displays out and everything else out, having a window which will show you kind of who's around, it's kind of nice to know. Yeah, okay, that's the person who's actually wanted to talk to you. So you really need to move all your screens out of the way and dial out of immersion and rejoin the rest of the world. And it worked well, and being able to switch between cameras means you can have, I just have a little magnetic connector on the top of my laptop screen. So I just have it parked there, and then it can see behind me. It can see, going the exact opposite other way. And there's a little button that you can toggle flipping between the two.
Mm-hmm.
It was nice. I noticed I have a bald spot on the top of my head. I did not know I had.
Okay.
I turned around to go look at something, and then the scene is right there. And so maybe that's a bonus. I don't know, but I guess I didn't know before. So I
guess I need to try this out. It looks like it's absolutely free, which is even more amazing. And I have to test it out, see people approaching me, and see if I see them. And Marty, I guess we'll both have to try this, huh?
Yeah, well, a surefire way to know where people are is to take the damn headset off.
Yeah, there's that.
You create this VR cocoon that you're in, and you're like, okay, now how can is there any way that I can get myself to see out of this cocoon? And no one thinks, just take the damn headset off.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Jill have those facial expressions. You had to have a comment on that.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, maybe I could do my hair, while I'm, holding. You missed my
Yeah. It's.
Oh my gosh. So, if you're a Vision Pro user, check it out. I had links in the show notes, and I thought that was interesting. I was surprised you guys didn't grab onto this. I found it, and I'm keep it quiet because I want to have it here. and it turns out you were already using it, Eric. So even more fun that I was glad I brought it up.
Yeah, but I didn't see it until I saw your notes.
Oh, okay. So you tried it right away. Okay.
So you still get credit for us.
All right. So you grabbed it right when you saw it in my notes. Okay. That's good. Excellent.
You should offer a subscription. I learn a lot from your notes.
I should, because Jeff Gammon, which of course we miss him. So he always uses the show notes for the Mac show, and so yes, he is very good at grabbing onto some of that stuff. But that's why I got all the good stuff here.
Right.
So anyway. Let's go ahead and move on. Next topic I want to hit on is there were some pretty serious updates here for iOS 18.4. 18.4.1 was released with bug fixes today. It was including minor updates between iOS 18 and iPadOS 18, which came out last September. Of course, you do it in the settings, general software update. The big update was there was some major complaints, and I will attest to it because I witnessed it firsthand using my wife's car driving the other day. And then all of a sudden I'm talking to her, and all of a sudden I got just cut off for no reason. And she had been complaining about it as well. And what it was is that it was a big bug that fixes this problem on CarPlay, as well as some major security updates. There were some pretty serious security flaws that it is very important that you go and update that today. If you're listening to this, if you haven't already, and it addresses some pretty active and serious security updates. But let me jump on more what was going on with CarPlay. So if you were experiencing that in CarPlay in your vehicle lately, it definitely wasn't you. It was there was a major software bug, but it's now fixed. It updates. The release notes say that it addresses a quote unquote rare issue that prevents wireless CarPlay connection in certain vehicles. So again, we were both using it wirelessly, but noticeably it didn't affect I have a wireless adapter that I was using, and then and you do too, Marty, the one we both have.
Yeah.
It never happened in my car, but it was happening constantly in my wife's car. So, but go jump on that, get the update. I mean, in fact, my sister-in-law was having the same problem, and she has another car, and it was doing the same thing. So it's important to go check that out, get that installed right away. Anything you guys want to add on that for CarPlay?
You've just outed yourself, David. Now you have no excuse when you hang up on me. It's not a problem.
Well, the good thing is I'm already updated to 18.4.1, so I'm in good shape.
Yeah. Well, when you asked if I could be on the show, I immediately got in my car because I had already updated, but I tested it so I could say something intelligent about it. And yes, it seems to be working fine.
Yeah. Good deal. Good deal. So so check it out. And again, like I said, it had some pretty serious vulnerabilities that was some pretty extreme, sophisticated attacks against specific targeted individuals. One of the impacts was core audio involving a malicious crafted audio file, bypassing the audio stream in the media that could result in a code exception. Apple did fix the memory corruption and the issue, as well as improve the what they call the bounds checking. The other vulnerability was a pointer to the authentication code. An attacker with arbitrary read and write capabilities could bypass the pointer authorization featuring that prevent memory from being tampered with. So I'm not going to go any further because this is getting very geeky. You guys have any thoughts on this? And just bottom line is just update. Don't wait. Just don't wait.
Yeah. This is when I had everybody at work update at a much faster than usual schedule, just to be sure.
Yeah, and I think with like Mac user groups, which are generally an older population, you really got to reinforce update.
You do that,
because they don't realize that it's really doing some good to update. And, it's like, it's going to be different.
And we have a lot of friends who want to wait a day or two because don't want to make sure there's no bug reports. But this is a bug to fix a bug. So, or this is to be fixing a bug. So I don't think it's something you should wait on this one for sure. And I'm telling everybody, update. Don't waste your time. Got to do it. So that is 18.1, 18.4.1, and let's move on to beta this week. iOS 18.5 beta 2 was released this week, and it added a few. I don't think I've noticed really anything it would add. Did you, Marty, at all? I think I did not.
No.
So no. It's not a bad idea to update if you are on the beta, and of course I always say do not put beta on your primary device. It's very important. Don't do that.
But it's fun. It's cool. It's what all the cool kids are doing.
Yeah. Well, Jill has it. I know
until it isn't.
Jill, right. Did you're back on beta now?
Oh yeah. So the Mac Mini is my production one, but my MacBook now is my fun one, and so I put betas on that. I live life like Reacher betas.
There you go. So that's it on that. But in fact, we're going to be in touch with Mac this week, and you just told us before the show that you got a new Mac. What did you get?
I did. I got the MacBook Air with the M4 chip, and it's a 15-inch. So I'm very pleased with it. Yeah.
And what do you think about it so far?
It is. So I had the M1 MacBook Pro. It is faster. It does handle some things that the MacBook Pro is kind of choking on at this point. And they both have the same amount of RAM. It's 16 gigabytes. But it's nice. And I like the lighter footprint of it. And before I was I traveled for work, and I wanted a Pro. I don't travel for work anymore, and so I felt like lighter was better.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I travel with my M3 MacBook Air, and I don't have any real reason to upgrade to M4, unlike Marty. I have to tease you about
Who
that.
needs a reason?
Because you upgrade to the latest every time, I know, but we love you. So now you got the M4 too. You've been using it for a while. Are you been using it pretty constantly, the Air, Marty?
Yeah, I travel between my house and the school and use it for teaching in my classes during the week.
Yep.
And I'm pretty much using that now exclusively. The only time I take my Pro with me is if I think I'm going to be doing some production, and I won't be doing production at school. I'll be doing it, doing stuff here at home,
Yeah.
or if I'm on a road trip and I'm going to be on a show, or then I'll take my MacBook Pro with me. But it is my go-to laptop. In fact, we asked a question on one of the shows that I was on: what would be the one piece of equipment if you could only take one Mac with you, or one Apple product with you? What would it be that you'd take with you? And there was, and I said it would have to be the M4 MacBook Air.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was going to say that it handles, like, I used a script for YouTube recording and Hindenburg for audio. It is handling all of them much better. And I was so impressed with the M4 chip in the Mini that I'm just as impressed with it in the MacBook. It is better than my M1 Pro. So.
Yep. Makes sense. So that's great. That's great. So, Apple did release an update, a pretty serious update. Again, we talked about the iOS and iPad OS. Mac OS was affected as well, including in Vision Pro. It was a 15.4.1 was released, and I just did the updates yesterday. That had some bug fixes for Sequoia. So make sure you run that update as well. And it's important to know that those same security updates that we mentioned previously here affects Mac as well. So, and it's a quick upgrade, as well as you want to get that taken care of right away. I noticed that it ends up in the pending install right away, because Apple was pushing it pretty quickly. So it will stay there and wait for you until you upgrade, unless you have it set to automatically update, because some people do that. So, but please go out there, get that update done. You got to do that. So, and then on beta for Mac, they did seed the second beta of Mac OS Sequoia 15.5. And the retro developers can grab that. I think it's starting to wind down a little bit to probably be transitioning to Mac OS 16 pretty soon here. But just a minor update, nothing notable. I didn't notice anything on my beta Mac Mini. Did you notice anything on yours, Marty?
No, nothing on that. David, I have a question.
Sure.
Because I know the article talks about the next generation version of Mac OS is set to be unveiled at WWDC.
Right.
When they say unveiled, will that mean like the developer beta of 16 will be available for them to work right at that moment?
Usually, every year during WWDC, during the keynote, they will announce that all the betas will be released on day one. Yeah, because they want the developers to start kicking the sides and kicking the doors to get going right away, because they want it started right away and get it ready for the fall, because usually in the fall everything is released. So yes, so they do. Yeah. So usually I would on my beta machine, I always jump on it, and because I like to see what it's all about. It's the nice luxury of having a second Mac, especially now I have an M4 Mac to do it on. So to play some more. So but yes, that it does. So
yeah, I'll probably hold off. I'll do one and then hold off on the other until the public beta rolls out with it, just to be safe.
Yeah, for sure. Next topic here. There's been so much chatter about Apple Intelligence and how Apple is going to work to improve it. With its uncompromising focus on user privacy, Apple has faced a a number of challenges collecting enough data to train the large language models that powers Apple Intelligence features that would ultimately improve the S Lady. But improving Apple Intelligence has become has Apple to have to come up with privacy preserving options for AI training, and some of the methods of the company is using having this been outlined in a machine learning research blog post. But basically, what Apple needs to be doing is they got to get user data to improve the summarization, the writing tools, the Apple Intelligence features, but it doesn't want to collect the data from these individuals, and that's where we have to expect that what's going to happen. And those embeddings are sent to a small number of iPhone users, and then who have the device analytics turned on, which helps the iPhones receive that embedded selection of sample of actual user emails and compute embeddings and all kinds of this stuff. So I think that's what really is the challenge here with Apple Intelligence, and is the fact that, and I commend Apple for doing this, because privacy is key, and they stick to their guns when it comes to making sure keeping things private. Yes, I agree to a lot of people to the point where Apple, you really blew it, but I don't know if I'd say they blew it, but they missed the deadlines, and they shouldn't have been really advertising that it was ready for prime time with this. So we've talked about this a bunch of times on other podcasts, but I wanted to hear what everybody else's take is better with this. And Jill, have you had any thoughts about Apple Intelligence or where Apple has been with this?
Well, I'm excited about it. I do a lot of AI and stuff, and so I'm very excited about it. But like you said, I'd rather have them be honest about the security and maybe the woes they have. Meanwhile, I think Microsoft today said, "Oh, we're going to start training our AI now." Like they haven't been doing this whole time, and we're going to start with Europe. And I'm like, really? We know you've been training. I don't trust you. I don't trust the things that are coming out of your mouth. So I do appreciate the fact that they are being careful about it. So yeah.
How about you, Marty? What has been your thoughts on this?
I think this is exactly the way they wanted it to be. It's going to be a completely unique product from other AI platforms, where they're going out and just grabbing any source they can find and commingling it with whatever you choose to put in it. Whereas I think this is really going to be the other AIs are not set up necessarily to use your contextual information, like your contacts, and then to also keep it secure. And so I think that's part of the promise. That's part of the delay. But I really think the end product is going to be an AI that's built for you and protected by you with Apple's privacy and security issues. And you're not going to see that in any other product. And they might cross the finish line later than others, but I think they're going to draw a lot of attention, and people are going to say, yeah, I really don't want to give all this stuff to Meta or to Google I really want to I want it to work for me within my own private context.
Yeah. And I've been really going hardcore on ChatGPT. It really has just impressed the heck out of me. Just what it does, and what I've been able to do some amazing outlines of things, getting ready for my Mac Stocks talk, and having it put together all the notes and everything to give me some ideas how to what I wanted to talk about, and customize it the way I'd like it. I've done that for other things, and I'm getting to a point with AI that I'm using it more than I ever been using Google to search for things anymore. Because all you got to do is you write a sentence, you talk about it, and then boom, it's gonna go out there and give you the choices when it comes to this stuff. I've got a good example here. I was trying to figure out and I'm pretty sure we had a little bit of mic problems, but it turned out it was kind of dumb. But I was looking for something with my Rodecaster Duo, which I talked about last week. I have now. I'd like to find some downloadable mic presets for the Rodecaster Duo, and then it went through and it has the steps here, with built-in presets, custom presets for the Shure SM7B, which I'm on right now. Saving importing presets, and then brings in a video from a YouTuber that actually talked about it. So it just blows my mind. Some of the things, and I'm sure you do the same thing, Marty, with ChatGPT, is try to do this stuff and get good information, right?
Yeah, I'm teaching a course in family therapy right now, and I had a student approach me and say, you're teaching about all the different theories, but I really find it difficult to differentiate between the theories and what techniques are used and what's that. And so I just put my syllabus into ChatGPT and said, look at the theories that I'm teaching and come up with these parameters and create a table for me. 5 minutes, it was done. And I was like, oh, I forgot the techniques. Please add a column on techniques. 5 more minutes, it was done. Table downloaded, brought into Word, put into a PDF and posted posted in my classroom setting. So
Yeah.
I just find it remarkable.
I mean,
especially if you can use it creatively.
Yeah, and you talked me into paying for the Pro, or no, is it the Plus? The Plus subscription for $20 a month, and it's worth every penny in my opinion now at this point. I never thought I would think that at the most, because I was using it for free, and you have the other options too. Now I'll say I have to know Copilot too, because at work that's where I live in the Microsoft world, and I have to start using Copilot more. I don't, and I should. I don't want to. I've got myself so into ChatGPT with AI that I've kind of avoided it, but I shouldn't do that because I'm going to have users asking me at some point, and I'm going to be doing training on it at some point too. I need to know Copilot. So, and then you have Gemini, which is the Google product, and then you probably have to get a little bit into that too. Do you pay for ChatGPT too, Eric?
No,
you don't. Okay, how are you doing it with just the free version?
Right now, I'm not using ChatGPT.
Oh, you're not using AI at all? Okay.
Yeah, well, at the moment, at work, we still have a kind of global ban on it.
Okay.
Because we can't guarantee that somebody's research data won't end up being used as training data or something else. So there's a couple isolated spots where you can do something with an AI engine or an LLM where it's on internal servers, and that works. So I figure I'll wait, and then after Mac stock, I'm sure I'll see some interesting sessions.
Yeah,
and that'll be the time to get back into it, and then new models will be out, and
you'll be hooked. Well, to your point about that, I know because you're doing a lot of research and stuff. It's the same thing at a lot of other companies. They have a way of locking things down, but still be able to use the chat and scan to not being putting the proprietary data of that company's information. So, I've seen it work and see how that does work. And you have the choice with just the company. There's a toggle switch between company and web. If you go out to the web and you start putting that information there, it's going to block it. So they've got those tools in place. So that's what's great about it. And Microsoft had to do that, and they knew that there was going to be enterprise companies that don't want putting out their proprietary information out there and not sharing information about clients or any of that other stuff. But they can do it internally. So the LLMs are internal to protect, to stay within the four walls of a company's network. So it doesn't sound like your university's not ready for that yet. So,
meanwhile, my university put me on a committee to investigate Copilot and how we can use it to make our work more efficient. But I mean, it's going to be, and I said that same thing. How do we know that it's not going to read our data and see our data? But I'll tell you, I had a project I've been working on since September, and meeting notes. And my boss said, well, could you create a chart of all the different meetings and all the different, things that were decided, what meeting? And I'm like, man, I just know that ChatGPT could do this in like 5 seconds. And I'm going to take days.
Yeah, I know. And I would probably think that's why Apple probably picked ChatGPT, because it's, one of the better, now of my experience, I see why they picked it. It is one of the better ones of all the AI tools out there. So, and have you been using ChatGPT at all, Jill, at all?
Yeah, I have a paid account, and in fact, I've been getting into the personalization parts of it. Yeah. So it knows I have 5 podcasts, and what was hilarious about it is I asked it tell me the rules of creating a BRD, which is a business document. And it says, oh, this will be an excellent podcast. And I'm like, nope, not a podcast. But it knows me and it knows my podcast. And it's always looking, and it said, this might be a great topic for your Buzz Blossom and Squeak. And it looks out for those kinds of things. And I'm like, that's kind of cool that it knows me now and what I have, what software I have, what things I use. So I'm really into this personalization and ChatGPT right now.
And then did you have ChatGPT make you an action figure? Because we've been doing that a lot.
Yeah, we've been doing that.
I have not yet, but actually I do use it for art for one of my podcasts, and it had the cheesy ChatGPT art.
Yeah.
And at some point it made an oil painting for me, and I said, this is really nice. And it says, oh, do you like it? Do you want it to be your style? And I'm like, yes, I do. And so now it makes all my paintings or all my art in that. I'm like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
But yes, I haven't made I wondered where all those dolls are coming.
I just posted it in our private chat. I made one up, and it said iOS podcast hero, and it has in touch with iOS on it, and it has the Mattel logo on the top right. That was the only one I came up with, and it did that, and then my coffee cup that says iOS all day. I'll put this in the show notes so people can see it. It's kind of funny. I'm looking a little chubby there. I don't think I'm a little bigger than what that is showing me there. And there's Marty's counselor education here.
Yeah.
But the person that's in your figure is looks like all the ones that they've been doing, not you.
Well, I ran it a couple of times, and one time it gave me a beard, and another time it didn't. So, because I wanted to correct some spelling on some of the objects in there.
Yeah. So I'll put that in the show notes. It was it's fun. So the people could see what you guys can have fun. I'm sure you've been seeing it all over social media, so it's no surprise there. So that's it about that. Let's talk a little bit about the control center. Are you worried about iPhone privacy? And this was a good tip in Mac Rumors. Do this with Control Center. In the iOS Control Center, it can be used quickly to take a picture, jot down a note, turn on lights, and control your Apple TV, and so much more. And it's very useful, convenient, because you don't even have to unlock your iPhone to do it. But that convenience comes with potential security issues. If you use Control Center to create instant notes, for example, you might not want anyone to be able to get at them just by picking up your devices and swiping the lock screen. But if you're concerned about such a possibility, don't be, because fortunately there is an option in iOS that allows you to enable and disable Control Center from the lock screen. It's just hidden away in the device settings. And here's how you do it. You launch settings on your iPhone or your iPad, tap Face ID or Touch ID, and then do the passcode. When you enter the passcode when it's prompt, scroll down to turn off the switch next to Control Center, and that will turn that off. And of course, finding the right balance between convenience and security is a personal preference. I keep it on. I think you guys do too. But at least you have that tip there, as well as a good piece of information to protect yourself if you're concerned about that. Because anybody can pick up iPhones, and even though it's locked, they might still be able to get to some of the things. You guys have your Control Center just turned on so you can do the things that you, Jill?
I have it turned on.
Yeah, so
maybe if I went to a conference or I traveled for work where I might be more likely to lose my phone, I might change it. But day in and day out, I have it.
You too, Marty? You leave it on, right?
Yep, mine's on, and sometimes I forget I can even use it, and I wind up swiping into the phone looking for and it's sort of like, wait a minute, I could have done this from Control Center. So
same for you, Art?
Yep. I've got it on, and I have my watch set to authenticate, so even if my face is covered, the things still unlock.
I mean, and I've talked about before, I'm not going to delve into it, but Control Centers, Apple did an amazing job in iOS 17 and iOS 18 of just adding some more items you can add to it. You can have pages upon pages upon pages of Control Center access for things that you may use all the time. A little crazy if you have multiple pages. If you so choose, that's what's great about it. You can jump and grab that. So, other topic I wanted to hit this week was iPhone 16e. It's helped Apple take a Q1 top spot in the global smartphone market. Apple took the number one position during this first quarter of 2025, according to new data from Counterpoint Research. It's the first time Apple has taken the top spot during a first quarter, capturing 19% of the global market. iPhone's makers' success came because of despite the economic uncertainty, it's benefiting from the 16E's launch with strong performance in emerging markets. Starts at $599, and the 16E was released back in March of this year to replace the SE, as we've talked about. Samsung was followed in second place with 18% share. It's nice to see that Apple has got up there, and there's some good numbers here. I have a 16E as my secondary device, and I know Marty does as well. I'm in the market to buy a new iPhone for my mom, and I think I'm gonna go right to the 16E for her too. She's on a 10R, and I said, "Oh my God, Mom, we got to get you off that thing. It's so old." And every time I call her, "What? I can't hear you," because the volume switch is messed up, and it's crazy. So I mean, the 16E is a really nice phone, I must say, for someone who wants just an entry level phone. And Marty, you have it. You've been using it.
It's my go-to phone now. I carry that around. I leave the 16 Pro Max at home.
No.
I'm not doing photography like Eric and Jill might be doing, and so I'm not focused on that in terms of just portability and function and lightness and usually I like to go for the biggest, the best, the largest. I mean, that's a Freudian compensation right there. But to go for the smallest and the and the lightest, I love it. I absolutely love it.
And that's what surprised me when they first announced this phone. It was like, oh my God, I don't know how for $599, is this going to be tough to get people in the market? But I'm pleasantly surprised to see it's a great phone for somebody who just compared to I honestly, the SE, the second gen and the first gen, I don't think they were very good. Honestly, I did buy one briefly, and I said, "What am I doing? Wasting my money on this thing?" I'm happy I got this the 16E because I was going to make that an SE as a secondary device, but I returned it right away. I hated it. It's just horrible. Mm-hmm. So, what do you think on this, Eric?
I actually almost considered going out because I find two phones is easier than two numbers on one phone.
Okay.
So it was a really close call. I still use the cameras too much, but as a phone to take around when I'm doing something where, there's more of a chance something might happen, or, occasionally I loan a phone out for somebody for a day or something.
Yeah.
So, it's a nice phone, and there really aren't that many compromises. The battery life is decent.
Mm-hmm.
Really, the only complaints I've seen on it are for people that wanted phones that were small enough to fit into a pocket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and there's not really a good solution for that yet. But other than that,
until the Fold.
Yeah.
And then the 16 will be my second favorite phone.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. I'm going to be interested when we start talking about that, because I don't know if I'm ready for the Fold, but that's a whole nother story. Jill, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm glad that they came out with a phone. I mean, that's how I got into Apple in the first place, was buying the cheaper level phone. So I think it's great that they have something for everybody. And I probably won't buy it because, again, I want that camera that's coming out in September, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I must say that I've taken pictures with the X16E, and it's not that bad. It's actually pretty good considering. So I'm very pleasantly surprised that it has a decent camera, and the screen is really sharp. I mean, it's got a good brightness to it, and you probably agree with that too, Marty, because I'm actually pretty impressed with it with that too. So anyway,
my sister has a friend who, last time I was up for MacStock, we went out to dinner, and she's in her 70 or so, and she had like an 11, or no, it was a 10.
Oh,
worse. And she said, "I'm thinking of getting a new phone. What do you think?" And I gave her all the advice, and she didn't do anything with it. And then I get a phone call from my sister who says, "I'm on the other phone with my friend. She wants to know, she's in the store right now, and she wants to know, should she get the 16 Pro or should she get the 16E?" And I said, "Get the 16E."
Yeah, I would do the same. I would do the same. before we move on, I wanted to give a shout out to T-Mobile because I had some things I had to get done. Namely, I wanted to get my mom's phone transferred over to my account and from their account. So because I'm I'm helping her out, so I wanted to get under my account so I could pay her bill. So I don't have access to that account anymore, and I didn't have access to that account, but I was able to call T-Mobile, let them know that I needed to get this done. And I tell you, the first service rep I had, a nice gal, I'll give her a shout. Her name was Julie. Was just phenomenal. I mean, what pleasant customer service. We were talking about some stuff, having some good conversations besides what the plan at hand was. So she got it in place, and then took care of it, and then had told me that they had to have someone else call me that in 24 hours to their finance section just to make sure that all is good. They called me, I think it was today, actually, as I record, and they took care of it. It's on my line phone account now, and it was like seamless. I just couldn't believe how easy it was. So I know everybody sees I toot the horn of T-Mobile, but you know what? They are pretty amazing. I was very, very miserable with AT&T over the past few years, but every carrier is different for everybody. I mean, some people are happy with Verizon, some people are happy with AT&T, and then others are with T-Mobile. So I just wanted to mention that as an add-on to the iPhone 16e, and she's going to be getting a 16e pretty soon here, so I'm excited. Another thing we want to talk about here a little bit is opening your favorite messages chat right from your iPhone lock screen. This goes along with the control center. If you want if you like to reduce the time that it takes to get to chat with a frequently contacted person, this new shortcut action is for you. Placing the shortcut on the lock screen to a spouse or a family member as chat will allow you to go right to it without even having to navigate through the app. The way you do that is you open up the Shortcuts app on the iPhone, tap the plus button on the top right corner of the app, and then you start open conversation in the search and action inputs, and you go ahead and search for the results, put that conversation in there, and boom, it's there, and you can just open it at any time. I think this is kind of cool. I don't know if any of you guys tried this before, but I thought it was a good tip. What do you think? Start with Joe.
I tried it, but that is a good tip.
Yeah. This means I can directly message my bookie. I don't have to open up.
Yeah.
And it also means if my wife picks up my phone and hits the button, she'll find out how much I'm spending with my bookie.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. So, you Eric, what do you think on this?
Yeah, it looks convenient. For me, I guess it's camera that I'm always going for.
Okay.
I really don't want to talk to anybody. But if I really did want to answer a message right away, because I like on the Vision Pro, a message symbol shows up in the ether and you just look at it and click and you can see it. So that comes the closest to that on a phone.
Yeah, that's true. So check that out. I think I like this little thing that they do here. So now this next story is, you're gonna not believe I'm talking about Android. Oh my God. But I thought this kind of more amusing than anything else, how far behind they are. Android just now with Android 15 says goodbye to a 16 gigabyte phone. Oh my God. Could you imagine an iPhone being on 16 gigabytes at this point time? How this could be? Android phones and tablets now must have at least 32 gigs of internal storage if they're officially included in the Google Play Store or other Google apps. This should reduce the number of budget devices that are quickly running out of room for photos, videos, and all the other stuff. The latest version for the Google Mobile Services Agreement includes a requirement that the devices running Android 15 must have at least 32 gigs of internal flash storage. I don't understand how that can be even enough. What do you guys think of this? I don't even need to go on. It's so crazy. But there's so many cheap devices in Android that's what's kind of crazy about that whole thing.
Well, I have to say my obligatory anti-Android thing. Well, how are they going to steal all your data if they don't have enough room to put the data on your phone?
Exactly.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. What do you think, Marty?
We used to buy burner phones for teachers who were here for 6 weeks, and so they would have some access to a phone, a local phone, and so these small memory kind of phones, I think, were useful. I can understand why they want to get them out of the Google Store, Google Play Store for whatever purpose or whatever reason. I Like I said, they argue in the article, well, it's because they can't store enough photos, and that was the problem we had with visiting international teachers. They were, like, taking lots of pictures.
Yep.
And so, we got SIM cards for them and things like that for storage, and told them to store everything on Google, Photos, so when the phones come back to us, they've got their stuff stored safely. So I think there's an argument that these are, that kind of level, that kind of memory is good for intro level phones for the kind of situations that I just described, but I can see why Google wants to get it out of their store.
Yep. Anything to add on this, Eric?
I think it's good that they're doing it. I wish that the storage amount was higher and the speed of the storage was faster, as well as phone companies actually allowed upgrades.
There's that.
I think everybody benefits when all of the devices are up to date and have all the security patches. And anything that might slow that down or prevent it, I would like to see gone.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So at least we now have 128 gigs on iPhone, so I think we're in good shape now. Because we were dying at 32 and 64, that's for sure. So let's go ahead and move on to the news for this week. And first story I have here on Apple TV Plus, sadly, Mystic Quest is being canceled. It was a very popular comedy series. It had after a 4-season run, with the show will be wrapped up after a re-released season 4 finale that's coming this later this week as we record this. Season 4 was not initially meant to be the show's final season, but the season 4 finale is going to be updated with a new ending to provide it to have some closure. Because don't you hate that when you have a series that doesn't have a closure to the story and then you're just kind of left hanging? So, you guys watch Mystic Quest? Did you like it, Jill?
Yeah, I do watch Mystic Quest. I liked the first 2 seasons. I didn't like the 3rd season as much. So I haven't had a chance to watch the 4th season, which why it's getting canceled because people didn't get time to watch it yet.
Yeah.
But I liked it. And I think it was nice that they got a chance to end it properly. And that was, I thought, decent of them to do that.
You watch it too, Eric?
Yeah, I saw the first 2 seasons. I haven't seen anything after that yet. Although now that I know that it's ending and it is an actual ending, not hanging, I'll probably finish it.
Yeah. And Marty, you been watching it too?
No, I give a show maybe 2-3 shows, and then if it doesn't grab me, it doesn't grab me. And so I did get through like 3 shows of the first season. I admire the fact that it went 4 seasons. That's about a good. That's a good run before the jokes start to get stale and the stories start to get old. And I think sometimes you see shows that run on forever and ever, and it's like, I don't think it was the writer's original vision that it would be going into 8 seasons and that they had a storyline that would sustain itself over that. So I'm really glad they're coming back and taking the money and the time to reshoot the ending so there's some closure for it. Because I agree with you, Dave. I don't like that. I sit and pine away for an anniversary get together show or something like that, and I think it's nice they are giving that closure.
Yeah, I have not seen the show. I probably need to give it a chance and at least try. So we'll give it a shot. Take a look at that. Couple comments in the chat.
Dave, I tell you,
go ahead. Sorry.
I tell you one thing is if you do if you don't get into it and you just give it like 2 shots and you watch I think it was episode 10 of the first season.
Okay.
And it was just so good. It was just great. Yeah.
I'll give another shot.
Alone.
There's so many other shows I haven't even.
Yeah.
There's a number I haven't even finished yet. So no, we got some great people in the chat room tonight at in touch with youtube.com/in touch with iOS. Guy Cyril, you're great to see you in the chat. He said the best thing about TV show closure is that people can stop talking about it. Probably. So I would tend to agree with that. It just it's at the peak when the last show comes out, and then it kind of gets forgotten about, basically. So, so let's move on to a couple other stories before we wrap up this week. There was another store. We talked about a store here in Chicago that was closing, which I think it already closed. No, not yet. It's going to close in the next week. But another store is closing out in the UK. It's going to get permanently closed this year. It's the retail store. It's in the UK. It's in the heart of Bristol, England, and there's no replacement in sight. They said that it's going to be closing its doors on Saturday, August 9th, due to a redevelopment plans at the actual shopping center it's in. And in a statement that was shared to Mac Rumors is from Apple said employees impacted by the store closure will be able to continue their roles with the company, which is very nice. So maybe they'll do other things, maybe remote. Who knows? So I think Apple's being smart about stores. I mean, if it's something that they can't do anymore, then they, in both these cases, the Northbrook, Illinois, suburban Chicago store is closed because that mall was dying. There was nothing left in that mall, basically. Whereas this one is the same thing. The mall's getting redeveloped, and they don't have a place for it. And then they felt, man, we can move it over to some of the other stores that are nearby and be able to probably be okay. But then, they're always going to be reevaluating where they could potentially put another store at some point. But I think Apple's been very smart, not going crazy bonkers by expanding stores. Their numbers are not big as compared to a lot of other retailers. So what do you think, Eric?
Yeah, it's, if the conditions change and, the store's got to close anyway, waiting until you get a really good spot makes a lot of sense. And they've been doing experiments with new designs of stores and new areas within stores in different regions. And, something like this just gives them a chance to get feedback from some of those new redesigns and then come back at it at another time.
Yep.
So it's always a shame when your closest store goes away, but
I agree.
Hopefully there'll be another spot for it.
Yep. How about you, Jill?
Yeah, same thing. I think it's good that they're being smart. I've been watching all these store closures and everything else, and I think, did you have a plan to grow, or did you, and it seems to me like Apple thinks about things, not just like, let's plop one on the east side and the west side and the central side and the south side and the north side. And I like the thoughtfulness in it.
And you, Marty?
Yeah, I mean, it's had a great run. I mean, think of properties in general, sales properties in general, or commercial properties. 15 years, come on. It's had a great run. Now, because it is the UK and it is the EU, and it's an Apple store, they're going to require a back door that's left open, so anybody can get in and get whatever they want.
Yeah, absolutely. So a couple more stories before we wrap up this week. Apple says these products are now vintage. Notably, the 2018 Mac Mini. That was the very last Intel-based Mac Mini. I owned that Mac, and that was a Mac Mini. That was a great Mac Mini of its time. But so you're going to gobble up those 2018 models because if you still need to run stuff on Intel Macs, that's the only one left on the Mac Mini side. And then the iPhone 6S, well, I mean, I'm surprised that was still around, honestly. That was initially released in 2015, so 10 years ago that phone came out. And it kept it around as a low-cost model until 2018. And then at that point, they stopped offering the new iOS updates on it. So, and the 2018 Mac Mini was just before, like I said, the Silicon came out. That was 2 years before. And is, like I said, the last Mac Mini with the Intel made inside here. So, so anything that's not noted as vintage is going to not get support or services anymore. And you have to be aware that in the list of the older products, they have a list out on Apple's website, what is considered vintage and what's obsolete. Looking at the Mac laptops, notably, I've had a 2019 MacBook Pro 15-inch. That's obsolete now, and that's only 7 years. Was that 7 years? So yeah, they're going to be a little more aggressive. It's looking like retiring all these Intel based Macs, and we'll see where all that goes, and of course all the old stuff that's obsolete worldwide. But this is just different stuff you'll find as far as that goes. Anybody have any comments about the old Macs here?
Is the 2020 Intel the last of the of the Intels?
No, the 2020 was the first M1 actually, as far as the Mac Mini.
So there's no more Intels.
No, that's it. All the Intels are. That's it. All the Intels are obsolete. I mean, as far as getting parts and getting repairs, they'll still I'm sure they'll still function. Yeah, I've actually got an old Intel based MacBook Pro here that I haven't. You probably
aren't we seeing this in other platforms? I mean, with PCs and Windows, that their shelf life in terms of is gotten shorter too, primarily because of what software they'll support and what the system will do.
Yeah, for sure.
I wonder too if because these countries are cracking down a little bit on you have to work with everything that you say you work with. Now, are we going to start, like you said, limiting what we work with anymore? Because what if there's a battery burn on, making up something? It doesn't work with the battery and the code. And so now the EU is going to sue you for it. So I might as well just shut it down.
Yeah, you would think. So, no, it's just like when we went from the G3 to the G4 to the first Intel Mac. I owned the first Intel Mac. That's what got me into Mac in the first place. I had at the very end I had a G4 MacBook, and then I had the first white. I had the white MacBook. That was my first Mac as an Intel, and then I never turned back, and that's where I am here today. So, sad.
I had a black MacBook. That was my first MacBook.
Okay, so you came around the same time then. You weren't these older folks with the first Macintosh. And I used an Apple II. That was when I used it in high school, but I kind of fell away from computers for a bit of time. So I'm glad I came back to it. I've been very successful, not only for my hobby but my career. So it's good stuff. Last story
I had an Apple IIc.
Did you? Okay.
Oh. Yeah, in college. Yeah, I had an Apple IIc in college. And
I bet you went to the dark side with a PC.
No, then I got poor and I had to build myself a PC.
Yeah, and that was economical back then. It isn't anymore. So last story here. Beats cables. They're now available at the Apple stores. The new Beats charging cables are now added to the Apple online store this week and can be purchased at physical stores in many countries starting this week as well. The cables are available for a variety of colors and lengths with USB-C to USB-C, USB-C to USB-A, and USB-C to Lightning. Still offering that, crazy enough. And it's got the Beats logo on it, and it's got the woven design, and they start anywhere between $18.99 and $34.99 for one to two cables. And then notably, this is Apple's first own USB-C to USB-A cable, which could be popular for CarPlay because they have a lot of cars that still have USB-A in their as their ports. So nothing extraordinary about these cables other than there may be a little cheaper alternatives. I know that doesn't sound very cheap. You can go out to Amazon, but although I would never recommend buying anything that's not Apple certified cables because you can buy those gas station cables and regret it. I must say. You guys, any thoughts on this, Jill?
That's cool. I've actually never bought an Apple cable, so I'm on the other side.
Well, Anchor is good cables. So I buy a lot of cables.
Yeah, Anchor has good cables. But it's good that they have all the systems. I just bought something for a microphone, and it said it can't get the Lightning to USB-C anymore because I'm like, come on, there's a lot of Lightning out there.
Oh, it's going to be for a while. I mean, you got 14 and lower on some of the older iPads that had the Lightning. They're end of life, I think, on iOS. So, any thoughts, Eric? Any thoughts, Eric, on this?
I like the colors. I'm glad they have a bunch of different colors.
Yeah, that too, and that's the thing. You get the boring white for Apple cables. How about you, Marty?
Yeah.
I paint my cables regularly, different colors.
Do you?
No.
No, you don't.
I think it's cool. People who are into beats, are very much into beats and their sound. And so this just kind of gives them a fuller package. But for me, I'd probably just go with a good woven cable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me, since my last name starts with B, those are just my cables.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
There you go. So, all right. What a great show. We had so much great stuff to talk about. But before we leave, I want to tell everybody about MacStock. MacStock 9 is going to be July 11th, 12th, and 13th. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the website. It's 84 days away, people. We're not getting close here. All 4 of us are going to be there. 3 of us are speaking. The Marty, myself, and Jill. You get the weekend pass here for all weekend. You get the wonderful workshops. They're going to be intertwined in the during with the presentations all weekend long. You get all kinds. You always get the commemorative MacStock T-shirt. I have every single T-shirt there is. I have every mug there is. I've been to every single one, and I got my collection back behind me here. And there's going to be some amazingly great speakers. There's some new speakers, like this guy. What was this guy's name? Will Gentius. Oh yeah, that's Marty's son is going to be speaking. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're doing a father and son thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can't look. We're looking forward to that. And we got Kelly Gamont's going to be there again this year, which I'm looking forward to. She's going to be with Brittany Smith. So that's going to be some fun times. If you want to have some fun times with these 2 ladies, you need to come to MacStock. They're a lot of fun to be around. And so check that out. Allison Sheridan, Mike Schmitz, Jeff Gammett's going to be speaking. Brian Flanagan Arthurs. We got 2 new speakers this year. Mike Burke and Chris Cook are speaking. And Brett Terpstra is going to be back as well. Allison Sheridan, Christian Shaw is going to be there. So there's a great lineup. We can't wait for you to come out and see us. It's in Crystal Lake, Illinois, at the Holiday Inn in Crystal Lake. It's a great place because you not only can you go see the event there, you also can stay at the hotel, so you don't even have to leave. We have had great times. We spent a few nights at the bar, and you got to have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There's a pretty nice restaurant in there, but you can also go off site. There's some great restaurants nearby as well. So come check it out. And for those of you listening as In Touch with iOS listeners, all you have to do is use the offer code INTOUCH50 at checkout, and you will save $50 off the weekend pass. That's a great deal. And that'll tell you that you heard from us, and you are going to save some money. So once again, come see us. We want to see you. Anybody that's going to be new, you're going to love it. Again, July 11th, 12th, and 13th, 2025. Come check us out and use that exclusive coupon code of INTOUCH50 at checkout. Save the $50. Thanks, and we're looking forward to seeing everybody at MacStock. And go to MacStockConferenceandExpo.com. That's the website. We'll have a link in the show notes, so be sure you go check that out. And we can't wait to see you. Well, with that, let's go ahead and ramp up for this week. That's a wrap for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Blue Sky and Mastodon at InTouchWithIOS. Support the show. Buy me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We would really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers to support the show. Please, we would really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe when we are live streaming, which is on Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios. It was great to see Guy Searle in the chat, and Paul Burry, and we had Witherbeckett in the chat, and there were a number of other lurkers that were listening as well. So glad you were able to make it this week, and we have a blast in the chat. So come join us live. The live stream will stay up on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it, as well as you can listen to past shows. And you go to In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in the show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, and many others. But better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are right there on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg. You can find me on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65. Jill McKinley, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure having you. Where can people find you?
Oh, thanks for having me. The easiest way is Jill from the North Woods, either in podcasts or on YouTube. And where did I learn to brand Jill from the North Woods? At MacStock.
There you go.
Do that.
Come to MacStock. Thanks for being here, Jill. Appreciate it. Also, Eric Bolden. So glad to have you back, and we'll have you back again and again. We love having you on the show. Where can people find you?
Well, it's lots of fun.
Yeah.
I can be found at Blue Sky at EA Bolden and Mastodon at EA Bolden at techhub.social.
And what podcast are you on?
Marty does this so much better. Monday nights with Marty, we immerse ourselves into vision profiles, and then Tuesdays with all kinds of people and Marty on Chuck's podcast, and Thursdays here evidently.
So, we've made it a thing. Thanks for being here, Eric. I appreciate it. Last but certainly not least, Marty or Gentius, it's always a pleasure having you here on the show every week. Where can people ever find you?
Eric is right. I do it better. Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Time at Vision Profiles. You can follow the stream on YouTube by just looking for Vision Profiles. Tuesdays with Chuck on Mac Voices. Thursdays here with Dave. And then I've got some podcasts I'm doing. Old Mac Gang, Gear Up and Go, and some other fun stuff that I'm doing. You can find out all about that at thepodtalk.net. And you can connect with me at Gentius, Gencius, at Bisky Social. BSKY, Bisky. It's not Blue Sky, folks. It's Bisky.
Okay. But it's technically as Blue Sky. But thanks, Marty. Thank you for being here. And thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you all supporting the show. We love doing the show. And we'll be back again. This next week. Until then, thanks again. And we'll talk again soon.